Hi folks, meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with SouthernIndianaWeather.com. Thanks for logging on to the latest video update here, folks. Happy Labor Day. It is a beautiful day out there, folks. It's going to be downright hot today, but hey, if you like hot weather, I've got a great forecast on tap for you. Temperatures hanging out in the low 70s right now across the area, but satellite and radar into motion. Rain not really going to affect us today. You know, the past couple of days there have been some isolated storms pop up in the area. The atmosphere's been juicy enough, and we've just gotten so hot that an isolated storm popped up. That's possible again this afternoon, but nothing widespread expected again. It would just be whether you are lucky enough to get one of those or not. That rain out to our west not going to affect us. That's sort of falling apart. We do have some rain in the forecast later this week, but no organized rain today. Do have some clouds here that's going to start to move in this afternoon. We're coming under a mostly sunny sky. It's about 9 a.m. as I'm recording this video here on Labor Day morning, and those clouds will start to thicken up this afternoon. We'll go under probably more of a partly sunny sky today, but really not a bad day coming on otherwise than that. Let me time things out on future radar to give you an idea of what we're going to face. Again, nothing much really going to happen for us rain-wise today. Now, as you start to approach Tuesday, you see some rain out to our west. This is from an advancing cold front. Going to be warm both today and tomorrow as temperatures soar into the 90s again. But there will be a nice cool down come off after that once this front has moved through. You'll see that in my forecast here in a little bit. Tuesday evening still looks pretty dry, but as we head into the overnight hours, that's when we got the rain moving our way. The big question is on the models right now. Does the rain start to move in during the overnight hours on Tuesday, or does it wait into maybe the afternoon hours on Wednesday? High-res NAM at this time is really wanting to make stuff just more isolated until we get into the early afternoon hours here on Wednesday. And that may be a little bit too slow. That might be a little too fast. We'll fine-tune that over the next coming days. Different models are saying different things right now, but we'll put chances in the forecast starting on Tuesday night, but better chances in the forecast by Wednesday, and it should be diminishing as we go through the day on Thursday. Now, other than that, not a tremendous amount of rain in the forecast. There is some, though, as I put the GFS into motion here for you. Here comes the rain, and you can see by the time Tuesday night comes, you've got that headed our way. Wednesday comes, that rain, those showers are in the area. It starts to move out by the time you hit to 7 a.m. here on Thursday morning. It's starting to mostly get out of the picture, and we start to dry out a little bit on the day. A few showers around, but nothing too big. We will dry out, though, for Thursday night, and as we continue on, no real big rain chances in the forecast for a little while. High pressure should dominate for a little while, especially for next weekend. And you notice a few of these days where you've got high pressure right over top of us, it's going to be some fairly cool days coming up with sort of a northwest flow coming on for us. The models are showing some more rain systems affecting us the later we get into the modeling, but again, not a deluge of rain headed for us during the month of September the way things look like right now. Now, active weather times will start to come upon us once again. If you watched my last video, you notice I talked a little bit about the Pacific. Pacific is still cooking, and of course that means there's going to be some injection of that typhoon energy into the jet stream. That'll make our times go more active again. You've got the remnants here of Hurricane Ignacio up here in the Gulf of Alaska. There you can see it. There below the Gulf of Alaska. That will eventually move on shore here by about Wednesday and then sort of get caught up into the jet stream. That'll help to make a little bit of a dip in the jet stream. That'll bring some cooler temperatures our way, possibly some of the rain activity with it on Wednesday and Thursday. But by and large, nothing too major coming out of this, just a little bit cooler weather than what we have seen out of this. So that is the remnants there of Ignacio. You can see a couple of other storms down here that we'll go ahead and talk about. Let's talk about first, though, heading out to the west. We'll go out to the west and work our way east. Here's Japan right over here, China, Taiwan. There's the Philippines. What you got right here, you notice this little blob right here, not overly organized. It's a tropical depression. It's the remnants of Etau, and you can see that's going to move sort of through Japan and towards the mainland coast eventually. Once these move north enough, folks, I've said it before, they interact with the jet stream, the energy gets absorbed, eventually it affects us. So there's one storm to deal with. You notice this right out here. This is Typhoon Kilo, and it is a pretty big typhoon right now. You're looking at maximum sustained winds right now at about 100 knots. That's a pretty significant. Notice that it recurves past Japan. Eventually that'll work its way towards the Gulf of Alaska as well there. And then behind this is sort of the western view. Let's switch over to the eastern Pacific view. You got a few other things going on here. Here is her tropical storm Himina. Used to be Hurricane Himina. It's been sort of downgraded, but there's Himina going north of Hawaii. Eventually, that will sort of either dissipate or get caught up into the jet stream as well, but a very active time coming for that. And then right here, this blob of energy that you see down here is yet another hurricane. This is newly formed Hurricane Linda, and you can see it's a pretty decent sized hurricane as well. It will eventually go and lose its steam as it heads more as well. But right now, four named storms going on in the Pacific Basin, plus the remnants of a fifth one moving into the Gulf of Alaska. Active times continue in the Pacific Basin. It's cooking out there. Well, what the bottom line is means, folks, that's going to be active times continuing for our weather as well. So as we head later into the month of September and then especially into October, I think you'll start to see more active weather patterns, more of that rainy and cooler pattern start to pick up again the later that we go. Now, this is not to say that the Atlantic is to be left out. We do have Tropical Storm Grace out into the Atlantic. In fact, if you take a look at the forecasted track here by the National Hurricane Center, takes a very similar track to what Hurricane Erica, well, actually, Erica never really made it to a hurricane, I don't think, did she? A tropical storm Erica, and you see it sort of loses its steam though the further it goes. It's already a depression by the time it gets down here into the Lesser Antilles and some. No, it's not the Antilles. Around the Bahamas are up here. Boy, I'm terrible with my geography in the Caribbean here, folks. But by the time you get to close to Puerto Rico, let's just put it that way, it starts to losing its steam. Some of the models, though, do want to do the same thing that it did with Erica, take it into a major hurricane status, make landfall in Florida again. We'll see. Right now, that is pure fantasy land at this point. You go back to the satellite view, you get an idea of just how far off this sucker is right now. There's a lot of dry air and a lot of wind shear it's going to have to face. It's going to face the same exact problems that Erica faced, and we all know what happened with that. Erica got just absolutely torn to smithereens. That very well may happen with Tropical Storm Grace. If it could survive, it could be a pretty significant storm if it can get into the warm, favorable waters down here with a lesser wind shear. But if it comes on that sort of same track that Erica did, probably not going to be a threat to, I guess, again, to the U.S. landfall. We'll keep an eye on it in the coming days, but just know that it is there. Now, by the way, I want to just mention this too. Sometimes the models that we look at can be just pure fun. One meteorologist that I like calls them cartoons, and sometimes they can be kind of cartoonish like this. The Canadian model sometimes is out to fantasy land. Just to give you an idea of what I mean by that, here's the Canadian model for about a week from this Wednesday, and there is what it does with Tropical Storm Grace, and it takes it to a major hurricane status. But notice what it does. It has a second major hurricane over here. The chances of two big hurricanes being there, hitting at the same time on the coast, is probably about 1% or less. This is pure fantasy. This is 240 hours out from this model run. But I want to show you this just to say, well, yeah, there is a possibility on there. But the other thing I want to point out is, depending on who you follow on Facebook for your weather, there's a lot of people doing weather. There's a lot of weather weenies out there right now, amateurs. And they'll just take models like this and they'll post it and say, look what's going to come in 10 days. Florida, you need to be prepared, and blah, blah, blah. That's just irresponsible forecasting. The Canadian model, first of all, you need to understand, is absolutely terrible at hurricane forecasting. So the chances of this actually occurring, like I said, is less than 1%. It's the only model that's doing this right now, and I don't think I've ever seen double hurricanes like that. That's just the chances of this happening. I'm just going to put my reputation out there and say that's probably not going to happen. I'm going to say it's not going to happen. That's just ridiculous. It's fantasy land at this point. But I say that because there are a lot of people out there who have an interest in meteorology and are fascinated with it. That's a good thing, but they don't have the degree to go with it. They don't have the knowledge that I did. I have a 4-year degree. I have a bachelor's degree in meteorology, and I put the time in. I know how to interpret these models. I don't just sort of barf out a model on the page and say, look what's going to happen in 10 days. So be careful who you follow. And if you see people starting to post this, most of the time it's just for hype. It's just for clicks to their page, either to get their advertising revenue up or feed their egos. And I appreciate their passion for it, but sometimes that passion can be a little misguided. We have to be, we don't want to hype something unless it's worthy of being hyped up. If we're 90% confident there's going to be a mega snowstorm, that might be a reason to hype something up if you're going to get a foot of snow and be stranded for a few days. If it's one day before, not 5 days before. This is, a good 10 days out on the modeling right now. I can guarantee you this isn't going to happen. So just be careful who you follow on Facebook, folks. That's just my little warning and my little tidbit for you right there. If you see folks trying to hype this image up, you can know they're just full of baloney, to be just quite frank. Now, let's just briefly, as we close the video here, let's talk about where we're going to go over the next couple of weeks. I issued my fall forecast last week, folks. You can go to southernindianaweather.com and you can click on the forecast discussions tab here up at the top, and you'll be able to find the fall video forecast. You can see it right over here to the side. This changes out to the latest video each time though, but click on forecast discussions. You'll be able to see that as well, folks. And what I've mentioned on there is again, I think warm. You're going to see a pretty warm September. We're already seeing that right now. We did go into a little bit of a below normal spell here over days 12 through 16, but that should rebound then to normal to almost above normal again as we head later into the month. Precipitation wise, nothing really to write home about. Maybe later in the month we go slightly above normal in precipitation, but I'm not even convinced on that. These are what the Climate Prediction Center, the National Weather Service, is saying. It's going to be a pretty warm month, and as you can see, there is here's what the raw data from the GFS ensembles are saying right now. A couple of days here in the 90s, but look at that. Much more pleasant weather returns. The major cold front moves through on Wednesday night. Not expecting any severe weather with this. The parameters just aren't there, folks. But we should see some rain with it, and we'll certainly see a big time cool down after this. Might not even make it out of the 70s these 2 days either, but it would be mid to upper 70s likely if we do. But here you can see 70s dominate for a little while before we start to go into the low 80s here again. Low 80s, by the way, this time of the month, as you start to head later into the month, this would be a warmer than normal pattern. Our normal high right now is right around 79, 80 degrees. But by the time you get out to the end of September, right around the 22nd or so, your average temperature is going to be more like 75. And by the time you get to the end of September, more like 73. So you can see as we head into the later periods, we do still have a little bit of an above normal pattern here, but not a screaming hot above normal pattern. If the models are right, 90s are done after Tuesday, and you can kiss them goodbye probably until next summer. So for you summer haters, that's a good thing. If you love summer, well, sorry. All the good things have got to come to an end, I suppose. But the warmer weather is going to go away. We'll have more seasonable weather. I think by the time it's all averaged out, we'll still be above normal and a warm September, especially when you factor in the 90s that we've just had and to the low 80s that we are expecting later here in the month as well, when we should be in the mid 70s. It'll be a warmer than normal September, but certainly nothing that we can't handle. I'll take the low 80s for highs. That's not bad at all. Now, again, if you look at my fall forecast, it looks like a cooler than normal October and November, but you can view that, again, the forecast discussions tab over on southernindianaweather.com. You can get more of the details about that. For now, let's just end with the 10-day, folks. Again, 2 90-degree days coming our way today and tomorrow. Today is going to be a very hot day, so will tomorrow for that matter. Showers and thunderstorms are possible, but I've only given it a 30% chance on Tuesday night. Better chances certainly come in on Wednesday. That looks like a pretty soggy day when the rain actually does arrive. Mid-80s there, and then of course after that the cool down really begins. Pleasant weather for quite a while, but I'll take mid to upper 70s and low 80s any day personally over the low 80s. And you can see, as I do in the 10-day, folks, just a couple of days there with rain, but not a whole lot going on else after that. Still a fairly dry period. These typhoons that I've been talking about, they will be injected into the jet stream eventually, but that'll be later on in September before we see most of the results from that. All right, folks, that is it for this latest long-range update. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Happy Labor Day to you, folks. Enjoy this weather, grill out, be with the family. It's a great day for it, and I'll have another video for you later this week. Take care.